So the criticism over the Transgender Day of Visibility, the White House said that the president wouldn't abuse his faith for political purposes. Does the president think that's what Republicans are doing on this?
I mean, look, just a couple of things, and really so surprised by the misinformation that's been out there around this, and I want to be very clear. Every year for the past several years, on March 31st, Transgender Day of Visibility is marked. And as we know, for folks who understand the calendar and how it works, Easter falls on different Sundays, right? Every year. And this year it happened to coincide with Transgender Visibility Day. And so that is the simple fact. That is what has happened. That is where we are. And I do want to say a couple of things because I think it's important here. As you just stated in your questions, what we've been hearing out there, a lot of misinformation done on purpose. And as a Christian who celebrates Easter with family, President Biden stands for bringing people together and upholding the dignity and freedoms of every American. Now, sadly, and it's not surprising, right? It is actually unsurprising that politicians are seeking to divide and weaken our country with cruel, hateful, and dishonest rhetoric. It is dishonest what we have heard the past 24 hours. It is untrue what we heard over the weekend.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Take a look at devout Catholic Joe Biden declaring Easter Sunday, the day many consider the most important in the Christian calendar, to be a trans day of visibility. There's the White House statement, complete with the Easter bunny in the White House logo, with the president declaring on Transgender Day visibility, we honour the extraordinary courage and contributions of transgender Americans. I am proud to have appointed transgender leaders to my administration. And he also said, I am proud to have signed historic executive orders that strengthen civil rights protections in housing, employment, health care, education, the justice system and more. Yes, those executive orders include on day one of Biden's failed presidency, attacking the rights of girls and women taking part in sporting competitions. As Abigail Schreier wrote in the Wall Street Journal, on day one, Mr. Biden placed all girls sport and women's safe spaces in the crosshairs of the administrative state. An executive order rigs competition by requiring that biological boys be allowed to compete against girls. Biden's statement made further false claims about the epidemic of violence facing trans Americans, and he also said this about his Republican opponents. Extremists are proposing hundreds of hateful laws that target and terrify transgender kids and their families, silencing teachers, banning books, and even threatening parents, doctors and nurses with prison for helping parents get care for their children. No. Books depicting graphic sex scenes, so graphic that I can't even mention them or read any passages on this program, have rightfully been removed from school libraries. Activist teachers who want to indoctrinate children with a hard left radical gender politics have been told to stick to the curriculum. And as for threatening parents, doctors and nurses, well, those who abdicate their responsibilities and give powerful drugs, hormones to confuse children, and even perform irreversible surgeries on vulnerable teenagers as young as 13, and we're talking here about things like double mastectomies, they've been stopped from damaging the bodies of those confused kids. It's just saw a shot of Chloe Cole there. I spoke to her on this network. She was given a double mastectomy at 15. She lives with that devastating regret every day. Now, I guess Biden thinks the entire United Kingdom is full of extremist haters because they've just banned puberty blockers for under 18s, just like a number of US states led by Republican governors.
President Biden's redubbing of the holiday as Transgender Day.
Wait a minute, he said that didn't happen.
He said he didn't do it. So which raises the question, either he's not being honest with the public or he really didn't know what was going on. And so my question would be, who's running the presidency? Is it a bunch of woke 20-something-year-old White House staffers that just put out this drivel whenever they want. So I don't know who's in charge. The fact that he's not owning up to it, either way it's bad. Either he's not being honest or he really didn't have anything to do with it.
The Easter egg roll has been a White House tradition for 146 years now, and it's usually been free of any political drama or controversy. But as you mentioned, this year was different. And the backlash has been sparked from conservative news outlets over the last few days who are slamming this flyer released by the National Guard, inviting children of members of the Guard to submit Easter egg designs for the White House Easter egg roll set to take place in just a few hours. And this flyer says designs, first, for one thing, can't promote illegal drugs. They can't promote the use of firearms. But the conservative outlets are really pointing to this detail, saying the design, quote, must not include any questionable content, religious symbols, or overtly religious themes. Those outlets accusing the administration in writing this of outright banning religious themes in this year's contest. And it's sparking a strong defense by the Biden administration, as well as the American Egg Board.
Stop wasting the taxpayers' money.
Which is saying that this has been a federal guideline for decades now, the board actually created by Congress. And they're saying that it was all meant to not have this controversy take place, to be as fair and nonpartisan and non-discriminatory as possible.
And by the way, say hello to oyster bunnies. Come on up, bunnies. Get up here so they can see you.
Are you the President of the United States? Are you the Vice President of the United States? Are you a senior White House official? Are you John Kirby? Where's your wife?
Say hello to oyster bunnies.